For this install, we're going to do the D4800. What makes this amplifier unique is that it has a DM processor built into it from AudioControl. So that's going to be the EQ, the crossover, the time correction, all that stuff is built into this. It also has a line output to go to the subwoofer. So this basically has 4-channel input and then 1-channel output. Comes with the USB cable so we can plug it into the laptop when we're done. We have some instructions here. Those out for right now. Now, anytime you do an amplifier that has some form of removable top with screws or anything like that, make sure you screw the screws into either the top if it has provisions or the amplifier. But screw the screws into something. Don't just assume that, like, if you put them in a nice little corner on the end of your workbench, that when you're done with the amplifier, they're going to be there. A lot of the times life happens and they disappear, and then you're like, oh crap. Now we'll just go ahead and put this top back in this bag. I'm not a big fan of the top on these. I feel like it kind of hides all this niceness that is the AudioControl amplifier. A lot of the times we just give it back. We're like, I want to see this. This is where all the lights are, so you can figure out what the heck is going on with your amplifier. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the amp, this has front input, rear input, sub output. It also has an LC7i built into it. Have a tweeter input, a mid-range input, and a rear input. So there's 3 inputs built into this, which makes things really nice. So you can actually do summing built into the amplifier. And then you have the input if you want to add a subwoofer volume control or master system volume. And then you have your speaker outputs right here, 240 amp fuses. On the top, you just have your GTO sense switch. GTO stands for great turn on. So if you're going to be doing this high level, you can use signal sense to turn on the amplifier so you don't have to go hunt for an accessory. And then of course you have all your lights for inputs, outputs, and your clip light. And then you have your communication, your protection, and your power all over here. So there's lots of lights going on in this amplifier. Look at all those. For us, we're not going to be using the high level input. We'll take these off and we'll put them in the bag as well so we don't lose them. For now, we'll leave our speaker clips on here, but they are removable, which is nice. So these both come off. Grab our panel where this is going to mount, and we'll figure out how we're going to do that. This is that rear panel in the back of the car where he wants to mount the amplifier. We just want to figure out where we want to put this to take up the least amount of room possible. I'm thinking the wiring is going to have to go up into this section here. We also have a distribution block we have to put in here because we have to come into this and then out back up to the amplified subwoofer. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make a piece of plastic that fits inside of this so that we can attach everything to it and then go ahead and drop it in place, because this has got a curve here, and I think it'll just be nicer to do that instead of just trying to attach everything to this panel here. That way we can zip tie in all our wires so they're nice and firm and secure. So we'll take some measurements here. 14. Have our plastic. This piece will fit in here nice, and then all we'll have to do is drill a hole right here when we're done for all the wire to run out of. I'm not sure yet, but let's go in the car and take a look. So I went ahead and set the panels back in the car real quick just so we could take a look. This area here was where we were thinking about drilling a hole. If we did that, that would be fine. We could get around this bracket here, and then over here in the corner there's a spot where it will allow us to get up behind this panel right in this area here, so we won't have to drill. Actually come around and then in up into here. So that means we don't actually have to drill or cut any holes. It will make like a Lego, like putting it back together, kind of difficult because we'll have to like make sure we put one piece back in at a time. I think we'll be okay. So we have a plan on how we're going to run the wires. Essentially what we want to do is we're going to have the power go out this way. We're going to have the signal go out this way. amplifier is all wired up, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab that back piece that we're gonna set it in. I'm gonna drill the holes, get it all mounted in that so that we can get it back into the car. Back here, this piece actually is gonna have to go in last, which is gonna suck because it actually now has to go in first. We need to make sure we leave enough slack so we can kind of move it around a little bit. Not too much slack because we're gonna need every inch of wire, but enough slack so that we can move it around to get these panels and everything back in. All right, but anyways, let's go ahead and get this over to the workbench. We have the amp mounted in place. What we did is, as you saw, we went ahead and removed some of the screws that were holding the stuff down so we don't have any extra screws anywhere on here, so they're kind of hidden. Other thing to note is that like this amplifier, everything is set through the laptop. It has no gains, it has no crossover external. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna unplug these speakers for now. We're gonna plug it into the laptop and we'll get it all dialed in once we get it powered in, but we don't want to take the chance of anything happening until we do that. All right, let's get it into the car. I'm just testing my run where the wires are so that I can make sure that I can jockey this thing around while I get the panels back in. Because like I said, this actually has to go in last. Where we want it, I got some zip ties in there just to get an idea. Now I'm zip tie the heck out of this thing. I'm gonna zip tie these power wires, there's 2, into the factory harness so it'll all go forward. You know, there's nothing that sucks worse than getting a wire all zip tied up and then going, oh yeah, I have another wire I need to run with that.
Like when you forget your base knob?
Yeah.
Base knob wire?
Yeah, like when you forget to run the bass knob or some other silly thing, remote. Yeah, those always suck. So I just got done zip tying it up. I'm gonna cut them all off. Do it again.
Hey, Dean strikes again.
Yeah, focus, Dean. So we come up with a strategy here. There's a wiring harness that actually runs up underneath the carpet here and then just kind of goes this way and up. If we follow that, we'll have about 8 inches more than we need, which is perfect. Got enough in the dash for us to use. It came up to be right here, which is perfect because the Pioneer actually has a pigtail on it for front and rear, which is all we're running. Perfect amount of RCA. Wire is ran up to the front, which is great. So that means I can start putting the car back together again. I still have to ground the amplifier, which is nice because there is a factory ground point over here that we're going to use. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it right now before I forget. back of the car and the passenger side all put back together. We're finishing up on the driver's side still. We still have to hook up the power for the subwoofer and of course get the wire through the firewall. Fernando's working on that right now. So this is where the amplifier is going to live. And of course we have the side panels all back on and the seat is in. Yay! Fernando's going through the firewall and dealing with that. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the radio, try to get the harness put in and all that, get that all put back together.
So we're done with the fuse. We make like a L. It's gonna attach to the battery holder, just in case if they need to have access to the filter, they can actually just unscrew this 10mm, move the fuse a little bit this way, and they can have access to that filter. It's not gonna be in the way.
Where did you end up coming through? Checklist real quick. Fuse, the power is hooked up, the radio's in the dash, the amp is in, the car's almost put back together. The last piece of this puzzle is to wire up that subwoofer underneath the seat that I built the brackets for earlier. Just gonna get that done and then we can hear it, tune it, and get it out of here, right?
Yes.
So we have our wires sitting right here. We're just gonna tip the seat back and get this thing hooked up. At that time, we're ready. So this blue cable here that comes with it, this plugs in right here. This is gonna be your USB connection. We still have the speakers unplugged. I'm gonna come over here and hop in the passenger seat, have my laptop, turn this on, radio's on. We have the blue light coming from the amplifier. The amplifier's on, that's good. If you're doing one of these, it's gonna ask you for a pin. The pin is right there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hardware firmware is not up to date. Update it. Please make sure the communication not accidentally interrupted. We're gonna hit OK, and then we're gonna sit still and wait for it to update. Got our output view, make sure we have a crossover on. So then we wanna look at summing. We wanna make sure we have no summing. 3 and 4 is just rear, front, and then we'll check line out. We can set as front and rear. That way if you fade from front to rear, it'll stay the same. EQ set to flat right now. Plug in the speakers. So we're done playing with the crossovers for now. What we want to do is get onto the actual tuning. What we should have done, which the step we skipped, is we needed to do polarity testing, but I'm guessing none of them are out of polarity because they don't sound like it and we're getting a good bass response. But just because I'm assuming that none of them are out of polarity and it definitely doesn't sound like it, and you can tell when one is out of polarity, we're gonna test anyway. All right, everything's in polarity. We're all good there. We're gonna grab the iTest mic, set it up. We're gonna play some songs, some pink noise. We're gonna have some fun. So there we go. This one's done. Hey, look who showed up. They always want to know, what did we think? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. I liked it. I was happy.
That was nice.
You know.
Okay.
Like it was,
the only thing.
What was your thing?
Subwoofer.
Oh yeah.
I was not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not my style.
You know, when we're tuning the system, we typically tune it with the subwoofer down. So from that point of view, I really didn't care. But then once it turns into a daily driver, and that was the subwoofer that you're going to deal with, I feel like it would just kind of drive me crazy. But that's just me.
I mean, you can turn it down.
He said
still.
he said he really wasn't into a ton of bass, and he at some point wants to do something different, but for right now that's what he's cool with.
That's cool, but no, it definitely sound good.
And for the teenager point of view, Haley, what did you think?
It was fine.
And there you go, that's all you can get out of a teenager. It was fine. It's right up there with, do you have any homework?
No.
How was school today?
Fine.
What are you doing tonight?
Nothing.
What do you want for dinner?
I don't know.
Hey, there we go. All right. Yeah, she passes the test. All right, guys, that was this one. In case you were wondering, this was a 2-day job. I don't know if we didn't mention that. And
well, actually, it's a full day. Because
it would have been a full day. It would have been a full day in a couple hours.
Yes.
Because we started late yesterday because we had things to do in the morning, and then we started this, and then we're working on this, and now we have more cars to do to finish out today's jobs.
And
but that's just how it is. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. You guys have a great night as always, and we say
on to the next one.
bam.